Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take you through some huge mistakes people make when using a leg press, which is one of my favorite pieces of equipment for developing your legs. Big mistakes people are making, which is causing knee problems, all sorts of joint issues, lower back issues, hip issues, and also causing you to actually make absolutely no progress at all and completely waste your time. So the point of today's video is to make sure that you actually get results and you have longevity in your joints, which means you can live a healthy and happy life. So we're going to get into it with point number one. So number one is having your hands on your knees. One of the big mistakes you see people making is they're putting their hands on their knees all the time and pushing through their knees to try and take some load off their legs. This is fine when you're hitting like the end failure point if you're about to die, but we want to have our hands on the actual rack and pulling yourselves down into the seat for stability. The expression "you can't fire a cannon from a canoe" comes to mind. So we want to create as stable an environment as we can to push through our legs and not have our hands on our thighs. So that's point number one. Point number two is having too much spotter assistance. So often you see people when they have a training partner with them, they load on way too much weight and he's taking all of the weight and all the load. In particular on the way down, the person who's actually training and lifting the weight wants to take as much of that load as possible. And if you want to do some force negatives where you help them take the weight back up, they control it on the way back down, that's a great intensity technique you can use. Number three, this is probably like the ultimate knee destroyer, and it's locking out your knees too aggressively at the top. So whenever we're training a muscle, we want to try and keep tension on the muscle, not on the joints and not on our structure. So by overlocking out at the top, you're going to be putting excessive force and stress on your tissue around your knee, and also taking the load off the muscles of our legs, which we're looking to try and train. So you want to keep this really controlled at the top end of motion, and keep some tension on the muscle, and don't overly lock out on every single rep. This being said as well, one of the big things I like is continuous reps, not one rep, stop, one rep, stop. Try and think about continuous reps and you get better results. Number four is foot position. So a lot of people tend to have their feet way too high up on the foot pad. So the further you have your feet down the foot pad, the more you're going to engage your quads. The higher you have your feet up, you're going to be using more of your glutes and your hamstrings, which are bigger, stronger muscles, and particularly your glutes. However, the issue with this is you're actually putting yourself at a mechanical advantage by having your feet higher up. So you're actually making the exercise easier, meaning you can move more weight, which is what you see a lot of guys will do, is they'll put on more weight onto a leg press, but their feet will slowly start to move up the foot plate to make it easier for themselves. And in reality, what's actually happening, the amount of load that's hitting the muscles is probably actually decreasing by the way you're making a mechanically stronger position for yourself. Now, the last two, we have knees caving in. So this is a very similar thing we see a lot of people when they squat, their knees drop in. We want to try and think about our knees tracking over our toes, and always think about driving your knees out whenever you're using a leg press, whenever you're squatting. This is really, really important. A lot of people tend to let their knees drop in, which is going to put a lot of pressure on the inside of your knees, on your cruciate ligaments and the ligaments around the knee, which is going to cause inflammation, injury, and it's generally not going to be a good thing. You're also not going to be using the most amount of muscles you can to move as much weight as possible, to build as much muscle and burn as much body fat as you can. So you want to think about like our knee and our elbows are hinge joints, things want to move in straight lines of motion. If our knee is crooked and dropped in, that's going to be causing friction, which is where people wear through like things like their meniscus in their knees because they have a slightly off movement pattern that repeat over and over and over again, and that's what causes major knee injuries. Lastly is angle of the seat. So you see a lot of people tend to have the seat too steep. You generally want to have the seat set back so it allows you to have a full range of motion and be in a comfortable position. If your seat is too upright, it's often going to cause you to have to lift your back up as you bring your feet down because it's not going to be in a comfortable position. So the most important thing overall with the leg press is making sure you have a solid foundation, you're set up correctly. So what you want to think about doing is pulling yourself down into the seat, head back, abs braced, and have your feet in a sensible position. And if you follow these tips, you'll make the most of this exercise, you won't get injured, and you'll build more muscle mass. Hope this video was helpful. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Any questions below on this or any other videos similar you'd like to be made, just drop me a comment and we'll get it done. If you need help with your own fitness journey, you can hit below this video and book in your free six-pack strategy call with myself and the CJ coaching team to discuss how we can help you.